Hello, Sunday Times. My name is Asad, and as a career, I do everything and anything that's under the sun when it comes to fashion. From conceptualization of a brand name to the last mile delivery for a product. So from distribution to investments to retail to e-commerce, anything to do with women's wear fashion, ये हम करते हैं जी.
We're really interested to know how this all works. Like, how are you able to, conceptualize everything and keep it separate from each other, and yet bring it together to make it very successful? So, what was it that you ever wanted to do when you were young? What did you want to do when you grew up?
Interesting question. So, ever since I remember, I think I wanted to be in the army, specifically a general. That never happened. And then as I grew older, since high school, I wanted to be an investment banker. And that's what I ended up becoming in the field of finance. So that's what the childhood dream had been.
So did you go to any particular university to study?
So I was shipped out of Pakistan literally when I was about 12 years old. So my middle school, high school, college, grad was all done in the US. My family was still stationed in Pakistan. For my undergrad, I went to UConn, and for grad courses and for some management courses, I attended Harvard.
तो आप जब इन्वेस्टमेंट बैंकर थे, how did you suddenly decide कि फैशन भी ऐसी कोई चीज़ है जिसमें मुझे इंटरेस्ट होगा?
देखिए जी, एक तो जो इन्वेस्टमेंट बैंकर्स होते हैं, they are always very particular. Let's say investment bankers or hedge funds, because my specialty or my core focus was hedge funds. They are very particular about the way they dress and the way they are represented. So although it's not directly fashion, but you don't need to be a fashionista to be acquainted with fashion. With that said, how I got pushed into, or how I was introduced to the field is, I moved back to Pakistan roughly about a decade ago. And I moved back to finish my CFA level 3. I took 6 months as a sabbatical to study and then pursue, obviously, finance. And those 6 months, we had a couple of friends. My family had an IT business, a core IT business, which was between call centers and a software development house. So a couple of friends asked us about getting a website done. They said, your family owns it, and they're from fashion. So once we did the very first website for Maria B, and since then there was just no turning back, and then fashion it was.
So, कोई ऐसे हैं जो जब आप बड़े हो रहे थे जिनको आप देख के कहते थे कि एक दिन, like you said, you wanted to be a general when you grew up.
Sure.
But was there anybody else, a figure in fashion, a figure in finance that you thought that this is something I want to be like,
Yeah, I have always wanted to be myself, just a better version of it. The only person that I've ever looked up to, I believe from a spiritual point of view, is our prophet, and a family point of view has been my father. There's nobody else in the world that I ever wanted to be.
What is something that you do when you wake up in the morning that, people have certain rituals that they perform, which they feel make them more focused and, get them through the day? Is there anything that you believe in doing when you get up in the morning? We've heard people say that you need to make your bed, or you need to meditate, or you need to have hot water and lemon and ginger. Like, what's your thing?
So forever, as far as I can remember, the very first thing I do as soon as I wake up is I say Durood Sharif. Just literally before I can even open my eyes fully. And after that, usually one of the benefits of living in a country like Pakistan is that you get to have your coffee prepared before you're awake. So I get to have coffee, and that's where I start the day, and just kind of look at emails, social channels, get caught up, news, and that's it.
में जब आप काम करते हैं तो आपको काफ़ी मसलों को फेस करना पड़ता है, और जब आप बाहर होते हैं तो ऐसा नहीं होता. आपको ये फील होता है, और डू यू थिंक कि देयर इज अ फॉर्मूला अराउंड इट?
मैं जी तकरीबन ज़िंदगी के 28 साल बाहर रहा हूँ. ठीक है, मैं उन लोगों को भी जानता हूँ जो 3 साल बाहर रहते हैं और उनका एक्सेंट ऐसे चेंज होता है कि जैसे वो पैदा ही उधर हुए थे. मैं उन लोगों को भी जानता हूँ जो 30 साल बाहर रहते हैं और वो they're still Pakistanis, right? So this is a subject that's very close to my heart, and I say that because we use a term, and at times we've used it in different contexts, but it's Soni Dardi. I genuinely believe that what Pakistan has to give to anyone who's actually willing to make something out of them, what Pakistan provides, the platform, 25 crore ki awaam hai, we're the 5th largest in the world, we're a nuclear power. Some of the most talented people when it comes to tech, when it comes to fashion, you name it, right? Finance. मुझे तो कभी ऐसा feel नहीं हुआ. Although 3/4 of my life I had lived abroad, but I wish that I'd moved back earlier. I wish maybe the education that I got over there, maybe the exposure has helped me and to make the statement so comfortably, so easily. लेकिन I think Pakistan कोई ऐसी चीज़ नहीं है जो आप बाहर ज़्यादा कर सकते हैं और पाकिस्तान में नहीं कर सकते.
But I think having a strong family base also helps when you live in Pakistan, because there's a lot of support.
Correct.
And there's a lot of networking.
Correct.
You always have like a safety net.
So similarly, there's a family. People have families in the US too, or abroad, anywhere. People have a friend circle as well. On the contrary to it, what I find interesting is people usually comparing Pakistan and any more developed nation कि जी वहाँ पे तो ये होता है, वहाँ पे तो ये होता है. असल में वहाँ पे इसलिए होता है कि हम वहाँ पे जाके करते हैं. वही अगर हम अपने मुल्क में कर लेंगे तो यहाँ पे भी ये होना शुरू हो जाएगा.
अच्छा, is there any particular rule or something that you follow that you think you would share with someone else who you feel if they want to be successful in setting up a business in Pakistan or working here? What is that one thing or two things you would say? Okay, always remain
like a mantra.
Yeah.
Well, you have just said it for me. You've literally just said it for me. So my mantra is that you hustle hard, but stay humble. And I think that I have that listed in my office as well. And you always just don't let that fire in your belly go out. It doesn't matter if you have 100, if you have a billion, or if you whatever you have. That money does not define a person's or should not define a person's ethos or their drive. And the second most important aspect in my books would be to be resilient. Just, if you don't get something the first time right, that's perfectly fine. Be resilient to a level where everything is possible.
Anything you feel like you would like to achieve in the future, you'd like to see in Pakistan, which you feel is not here right now?
I would rather not comment because I hear a lot of people going missing giving those comments. So I'm a family-oriented guy. I don't want to comment on that. I think Alhamdulillah, Pakistan has everything which it should have.
Okay.
I think a non-biased, democratic country would be really what our next generations, I think that's at least what they deserve, and a freedom of speech, a right to speak freely. I believe every human has two basic rights by birth, absolutely. Number one of them is to be free, right? That's your birthright. But number two, most importantly, is the right to hold your opinion. And there's no wrong opinion, ever. That's what I've learned over the course of life. People are very judgmental, and this is globally. You're wrong. No, they're not wrong. They're right in their perspective. So you have a right to your opinion, and you have a right to be free. I think those two things are very eminent in any family, culture, individual, country's success. Yeah.
Any special message that you would give your children if you feel that they come up to you and they're like, this isn't working out for me, or they did something and they felt that they didn't do well enough? What is something you would say to them as a parent, as a mentor, that you feel, that maybe should give them some hope?
Right. So being a veteran parent myself, I have 3 boys, and they're age 16, 15, and 14, and they're everything to me. As any parent, as any kids for any parent would be for them. But I'm a very tough dad. I'm their best friend, but I'm a tough dad. I believe in tough love in life. That's my philosophy. I don't believe in entitlements. I come from a background where our father loved us dearly, but we dare not sit next to him. We come, घुटनों को हाथ लगाया, पीछे खड़े हो गए, बैठ के हम 4 भाई हैं. तो बस कोशिश होती थी कि जब वालिद साहब आ गए हैं तो हम गुम ही हो जाएं, नहीं तो शामत आ जाती थी. though I think I've inherited that from my father as well. A very loving man, but very disciplined man as well. So I would tell my kids that, firstly, whatever it is that they're trying to do, only do it if you have your heart in it. Mind comes later, heart comes first. And I would say that work hard towards something, and if you find out at any point in time it's not for you, it's not for you. Not everything is for anything, for everyone. And secondly, most importantly, what I've always been telling my kids since a young age too, define your own measure of success. Success is not monetarily. It's never monetarily. It's in my books. It's in my opinion. It's how content you are with whatever you're doing. You could be making $40,000 a year, but spending a lot of time with your families, or $40 million a year, but spending no time with your family. You know, who's successful? Who knows? That person who's maybe making 40 might be more successful. So I tell my kids the same thing: that define the goal before you get into something. So then you're not setting yourself up for failure.
How do you feel AI is going to help? Do you think that it's going to help your business or e-commerce or anything that you're working on currently, or do you feel that it's something that's going to be an innovation after this?
This is a very good question, by the way, because that's the debate that I feel like having with myself, and I do have with myself every now and then, because we are primarily a tech house, all the fashion-based, but a tech house. It's like internet. What do you use it for? If you're using it for research purposes, if you're using it for productivity, कुछ सीख रहे हैं, कुछ समझ रहे हैं, कुछ अपने आप की अपनी skills enhance कर रहे हैं, it's very productive. Is there an invasion of privacy? There is no privacy as such anymore, as much as it was. I think it is inevitable. AI is the future. I'm sorry, I correct myself. AI is now. It's not the future. People who jump on the bandwagon, I think it's a bandwagon, by the way. This is gonna be life. I'm a strong proponent of it. I believe that we should use technology to enhance our skills. I firmly believe that I don't think any scientific, unless it's EQ driven, unless the emotion quotient is deeply rooted in it, and I think there will be it's not going to be in the near future. So unless we do that, nothing replaces the human thought and the human touch, which AI is going to lack. But I think, it's going to do about 80 to 90% of your day-to-day tasks, or accelerate those processes for you. And where I've been actually telling my team this as well, कि जब हम बड़े हो रहे थे तो what mattered the most was कि जवाब किसको पता है. जैसे अभी आप मेरे से सवाल पूछ रही हैं, मैं आपको जवाब दे रहा हूँ. तो whosoever answered right was the person, and they were the smart guys. Now the intelligent people are going to be, or are the ones who know what's the right question to ask. Because AI, or again, ChatGPT is just a tool set for it. They are giving you the answers. You just got to know how to ask the right question. So that major paradigm shift has already started happening.
Say, if there's anything you want to people to follow, or something, follow us on whatever, and you can just say that
If anyone has any questions, I do run a small VC firm as well, and a reasonable sized tech house. If anyone has any questions, it's not necessarily business related, but just general knowledge related. Just any advice in any aspect of business, you can always reach out to me. You can always reach out to me on my email or on my Instagram.